soil the following week. Straight to the KC Stadium then, without further ado. Commentary team waiting for us. Terry O'Connor, Barry McDermott, but first, Bill Arthur.
It is, as you say, Eddie, almost a playoff before the playoffs between these two sides. No wonder it's attracted such a great crowd here to the KC Stadium on this Saturday tea time. And all credit to the Leeds fans, who could have been sitting at home licking their wounds after last weekend's experience, but a goodly number have made the journey to Hull today to support their side, hoping that they can get back on track. But this is the Hull FC side that will take the field today. At full-back it'll be Craig Hall, then it's Tom Briscoe, Sean Berrigan named in the centres, alongside Kirk Yeaman, Rhys Lynn, Richard Horne and Sean Long are back together again, reunited for only the 5th time this season for Hull FC. And in the forwards, Mark O'Mealy, Danny Houghton, Lee Radford, Willie Manu, Danny Tickle and Craig Fitzgibbon. There is no place for Ewan Dowes. And on the bench, Danny Washbrook, Peter Cusack, Jordan Turner and Sam Moa. The coach, Richard Agar. The other notable absentee for the Black and Whites, Efalahami Luaki, who's picked up an injury in training. Now then, the Rhinos having to make changes after picking up another couple of injuries at Wembley. Jamie Jones-Buchanan and Chris Clarkson cropped there. So it's Brent Webb at full-back. Scott Donald returns to the side, having missed out on Wembley. Brett Delaney, Lee Smith moves into the centres. Ryan Hall, Danny Maguire and Rob Burrow. Bit of a whisper about Maguire having a slight problem ahead of this game, but he's fit to play. The forwards, Kylie Luluai, Danny Badeiras, Ryan Bailey. Now Keith Senior named in the second row for the Rhinos, partnering Carl Ablett and Kevin Sinfield, embarrassed last week at Wembley, captains the side from loose forward. On the bench, another man coming back is Ali Lauer-Titi, another one to miss out at Wembley. Matt Diskin, Greg Eastwood and Ian Kirk, and the coach is Brian McLennan. And Hull with a great home record this season, just 2 defeats so far in Super League in the regular campaign, and Wigan and Warrington, the only sides to have won here. But they're up against a Leeds side who's done the double already over them. Leeds winning here in the Cup, and a big win against Hull back at Headingley for Brian McLennan's men. There they are, warming up in the dressing room down below us, the KC Stadium. And Hull FC, well, a very relaxed and a very confident Hull side as well. A pretty refreshed side. Sean Long should be just in your shot there, having missed the last 7 games after sustaining that dislocated elbow against the Catalan Dragons at the start of July. Richard Horne likewise back after missing the last 3 with a groin problem. So those two back in the side, refreshed, and Hull have had only 2 games in the month of August. It's been a quiet month for those not involved in Challenge Cup exploits, so no excuse for the players feeling jaded as we await the entrance of the two sides here, and a big crowd awaits them as well. It'll be a great atmosphere because it does have the feeling already, even though this is the last round of the regular season, Terry, still the feeling of playoff football. Yeah, and you can just see the focus and the concentration in those Leeds players' eyes. Playing in the Challenge Cup final, they want to get straight back onto this pitch, hopefully come up with a winning formula, but they were very focused in the warm-up. But you talk about the changing rooms and what Leeds look like, you have to look at what Hull were doing. They were bouncing around, they were buzzing, they were looking at Sean Long, the most calming influence in this Hull FC side. He's been in these situations before where he knows that he's got to come up with 100% performance, but he's up against a tough side led by Keith Senior, led by Kevin Sinfield. Well, Hull will know that the Long and Horne partnership is a pretty good omen for them. The last time they were together, they won. That was at Kingston Rovers on April the 2nd, when Long and Horne were in partnership, and they'll be expecting great things for them. Is it perhaps, Barry, a lot to ask for them to be back only the 5th time this season to have such an influence on a game as big as this? I know that Richard Agar has used Sean Long, so not only will they get the benefit of what he's got during the games, then he will have brought something extra special to the changing room, to the training pitch, and he will marshal this team around. I think the kicking game from both teams will be vital tonight. Kevin Sinfield, as I say, is playing at 13. Sometimes
He drifts from 6 to 13, but Sean Long is an out-and-out half-back at number 7, and his kicking game will be very important.
Ian Smith, the referee this evening, wants to have been Phil Bentham, but he's been taken ill, so Ian Smith stepping into the breach to take charge of this one. And it'll be the Rhinos who'll get things underway. The Rhinos in their conventional kit, Hull in their conventional kit. So you can differentiate between the two sides this evening. Oh, and Richard Horne, it went backwards, says the referee.
Well, they've got away with that one. Richard Horne, thought he was facing his own try line, the ball going backwards.
That was a let-off.
Well, you can see he just turns. Oof.
That's a knock-on.
That was very marginal, and as it is, it's Horne in possession again. Horne looking for some support. He'll take the tackle from Brent Webb, though, on the halfway line. Well, he's made the most of his luck with that run, and Hull looking to give it width already here. Here's Tickle through the middle. Tickle gets the pass away. It was forwards, says the referee, as Berrigan is stopped. Berrigan not so certain about that, but the referee was well placed.
Well, here's a statement of intent, making the ball available. Warrington last week at Wembley had huge success offloading the ball, going into contact, making it available for a support runner. And you saw from Richard Horne there, close support, and he gained about 30 metres.
So the Rhinos relieved that that didn't come to anything, and now Maguire has stepped away from the tackle of Yeaman, and Maguire is away. Hall is trying to close him down. Surely Hall will get there. The handoff from Maguire. Hall has put him to the deck, and Maguire eventually has to take the tackle. And Craig Hall doing just enough there to stop Danny Maguire, but he has transformed the Rhinos' position, and now Brett Delaney takes the ball in for them, and they're only about 8 metres away from that Hull FC try line as Badeiras serves it up for Sinfield. Sinfield for Bailey, bombed a try early on for the Rhinos last week at Wembley. He is tackled. Badeiras again. Here is Rob Burrow now. Burrow out wide to Ablett. Ablett steps inside. He is tackled. The whole defence being examined early on here, and Burrow not quite ready for that play the ball as Kylie Lulawai drives it in and still drives. That's the 5th tackle, and the Rhinos looking to strike first here at the KC Stadium, courtesy of that breakout from Maguire. Sinfield chips it across field for Hall, who chases it, and it's well taken by Reece Lynn under pressure from the Rhinos winger, and Hull FC survive.
Good positioning by Reece Lynn, the young fullback, the young winger for Hull FC. Look at that, under all that pressure from Hall. Late in the first 2 minutes, a break from either side. They're not going to die wondering, they're going to chance their arm.
Teenager Reece Lynn responding well to the pressure there. That kick into the corner caused havoc for the Rhinos last week. So it was their turn to put on that play, and Hull had the right answer to it. At least they did that time. Here is Sean Long. Such an influence on the Hull side when he's fit to play. He's had bad luck this season with injuries, the elbow problem, the cheek problem. He's very conscious of the fact that he probably hasn't delivered as the Hull FC fans were expecting him to. Here is Hall. Leaving the club at the end of the season, Craig Hall, rumoured to be going across the city to join Rovers. Horne, he puts the kick in. Briscoe will chase it, well judged by Scott Donald. And they were offside, says the referee, Ian Smith.
Well, that will do Scott Donald's confidence the world of good. He was left out of the side last week. And Tom Briscoe, one of the most exciting talents in the division, just offside. He puts enough pressure whether he got the call or not, but Tom Briscoe, he'll be hounding Scott Donald tonight on that particular play.
Donald has had 5 very productive seasons with the Rhinos. He scored 90 tries in that time, but he's decided to head home. Here is Kylie Lulawai. He'll be staying on.
Hull FC know that they need to control, and you can see what they're doing. They're trying to hold Leeds down. They don't want to generate any go forward. They've got to control the speed of which they play the ball. They're already getting numbers into the tackles.
Craig Fitzgibbon went down low there. I thought he'd taken a knock as Ryan Bailey went in. Fitzgibbon back on his feet though. Maguire across the field. 4 tackles gone in this set of 6 for the Rhinos. Burrow jinking, weaving, then looking to duck under as he does so often, but Fitzgibbon wasn't having any of that. On the last now, and it's Webb with a kick into the corner, and Craig Hall deputising for the suspended Jordan Tansey, positioned correctly to field that ball.
He knew exactly where he wanted to place that kick. Not perhaps going for the try, just going for position. Percentage rugby league and a percentage kicking game will break Hull FC down tonight.
Yeaman.
It's going to be interesting to see how Keith Senior, playing in the second row, normally a centre, copes with the work rate, and whether or not the Hull FC forwards will target him.
What are you suggesting?
Well, I can
34 years of age, are you suggesting perhaps that he might not be up to the task?
It's a different fitness playing in the forwards than playing in the backs.
I can answer that for you, Tez. I spoke to him during the week. He's a very physical player at the best of times, Keith Senior, and often comes in to look for work. That's a great kick chase, superb work from Hull FC. But Keith Senior is relishing the thought of getting stuck in and looking for more work.
Bit of a hold up in play as stewards deal with an interloper at the back of the field. So that's and the players, you can see the players thinking, what the, come on, let's get on with it.
They just want to get on with it.
House on fire.
Well, both teams are here tonight, they just want to play rugby. And that stoppage in play won't help Leeds out. Hull FC sorted the defensive line out.
Questions will be asked about the Hull FC perimeter defence there.
Richard Aker can't be held accountable for that, Bill. Come on.
Delaney turned on his back. Well, after that really rapid start when both sides threatened, Leeds threatening the most. Mid-pitch slugging it out now at the moment.
And that's why Hull FC have got to control the ruck. He's one of the best hookers in the game, Danny Badeiros.
Sinfield's kick. He sliced that one. Not best pleased Kevin Sinfield with that kick. But it's a good chase by his supporting players, stopping Craig Hall in his tracks. Here's Kurt Yeaman having a good season. Yeaman almost back to his best, the sort of form that won him international honours not so long ago. Yeaman. Supporters appealing for a penalty for not square, and they get their wish. Berrigan it was taking the ball up.
Yeah, just clever play by Berrigan. Had a little look up, just seen Ryan Bailey it was, the man who wasn't squirt.
And Ted, you talked about Keith Senior playing in the pack tonight. That man Berrigan is playing in the centres. He's played at hooker, scrum half. Very versatile player. Can recall him playing for Australia and Queensland in the centre position.
Long. Here is Mark O'Mealy now. Houghton, Radford played the last 5 games in the prop position. Horn, oh, great ball from Horn, and it goes to ground. Yeaman put it down.
If he could have took that ball in, Yeaman hit a perfect line. Just look at them, they're playing outside the tight forwards. Good ball by Long, look at that. Perfect positioning from Yeaman. Horn attracts so many defenders to him, and he just couldn't take that pass in, Kurt Yeaman.
Put the knockers on him, said his form was coming back to something of old, and then he comes up with that, to the frustration of his coach. Wry smile from Richard Agar. So Leeds, that was a warning for them though. Hull had opened them up and should have taken advantage of that opportunity. It's Kylie Luluai now. Badeiros. Brett Delaney. Badeiros waits. Sinfield now. Bailey and Fitzgibbon came looking for him, missed him, but there were others behind him to make the tackle. Radford swinging.
Oh, it's off. Something's happened there.
And they're still going at it. Radford.
Well, Lee Radford can throw. I watched him in that boxing match with Stuart Fielder.
Absolutely. And Bailey at the bottom of his shot still wants some more of it. Radford pointing to his face.
Well, it was always going to be like this, always going to be physical, both teams going at it.
There's such a lot at stake for both sets of players, both sets of fans. They know how vital this match is. 4th position. And the ball is taken up from Ryan Bailey. There's an attempted hit. Oh, there it is. There's the elbow to the back of the head. Lee Radford gets 4 in before he gets accosted by Badeiros. Then Bailey realises he's cut. and he thinks, I want a bit back.
Let's see what Ian Smith's got to say about this. He's gone for his pocket.
No, away!
And still, it's simmering. Still, Ryan Bailey won't let it go.
Wait, you 3 punches, off you go. Off.
And it's a red card, I think. It is a red card for Lee Radford.
Well, Lee Radford has thrown 3 or 4 punches. I'm not sure it's a red, Bill. I hope it doesn't ruin. I hope it doesn't ruin a contest.
Well, Bailey has gone, I think, as far as the bin. That's the look of things.
I think he's gone to the blood bin.
So Bailey's in the bin.
I'm with you there.
Red carded.
No, Bailey's in the blood bin.
Right.
I'm with you. I don't think that was a red card. Just 10 minutes in the sin bin to calm down.
Ryan Bailey's caught him with 3 or 4 elbows. Lee Radford's got up, thrown 3 or 4 punches. Get yourselves in the sin bin, have a calm down, and let's get back to the game.
So, Hull down to 12.
Well, what will that now do to Hull?
You can see what it's going to do, Tez. It notches it up another 3 levels.
Well, Mark O'Mealy is the sort of character who'll respond to a challenge like that. In on the tackle on Greg Eastwood. Beg your pardon, Kylie Luluai it was. Greg Eastwood is on, but it's the Rhinos in the attack now with Carl Ablett. And the Hull supporters rallying. They call him the 18th man here. The programme is dubbed the 18th man. In fact, tonight's edition is a special tribute to the supporters. They need an 18th man here tonight. Oh, Delaney has put that one down. Went backwards, says the referee. No, he doesn't. He gets a word in his ear. A thing from touch judge Tim Roby, and it's head and feed to Hull FC, and a mighty relief for them.
Well, you can see the frustration from Delaney. Knocks that ball forward, and he throws it into touch. But Richard Agar now, he's got to get his troops together and tell them to keep the composure. Big Brett Delaney, the lead centre, making that mistake.
Just to clarify, Ryan Bailey wasn't sin bin, wasn't sent off. He's in having a blood injury treated as a result of that set 2 with Radford. Radford very much sent off. So Hull down to 12 men.
I think it's very harsh, not only to send Lee Radford from the pitch, but not to deal with Ryan Bailey. Lee Radford is not a dirty player, he's very physical and one of the toughest around. But the decision's been made.
But the fact is, Radford is sitting in the Hull FC dressing room, dejected figure. Such a vital game, and he got sucked in into a confrontation there. And a seasoned campaigner probably should have ducked that issue there.
You're right, Bill, he'll be disappointed when he looks at it. You've got to have fire in your belly, but you've got to have ice in your mind. And if that fire gets too much and too big, then it starts to melt the ice and a player can lose the plot.
Even a player as experienced as Lee Radford, who's played in grand finals galore. The kick is a tester, and it's a good chase as well from Briscoe.
Good play by Brentwood. Tom Briscoe tried to take the second effort to drag him into touch. Well, Hull FC willing to throw this ball around, and that's what they've got to do.
Fitzgibbon with the tackle. Well, they've stepped up to the challenge since going a man down, but it's surely going to be draining against opponents like the Rhinos.
Well, with 12 men, you've got to make sure that you play discipline and you control the football. You don't want to be defending for 80 minutes.
And it can galvanise sides. You know you're up against it. You know you have to be squeaky clean and be as effective as you can. Let's just wait and see.
Reece Lynn fields that ball. Well, the kicking game of Long was important for Hull FC even before they went down to 12 men, even more so now. Here is Tickle. Long directing operations. Houghton, though it is, who moves in, serves it up to Fitzgibbon, takes on Vadiris. 3 tackles gone. Hull struggling to make progress up the field. Houghton, O'Mealy runs straight into Senior. Ablett there to make the tackle. Long now. Here is Willie Manu. Manu onto Kirk Yeaman. Yeaman, it's gone backwards, says the referee. Certainly did that. But that's the 5th tackle. Needs a good kick from Long now, but Long immediately put under pressure well by Maguire. Not able to get the position that he wanted on that kick, and it's fielded by Webb now. And Webb running it back. Donald comes back inside him. Webb meanders on his way outside.
Hard for Sean Long to put that kick where he wanted him. He's coming off a slow play of the ball. The Leeds defenders getting off the line and putting pressure on him.
Here is Ryan Hall coming in off his wing for work.
Richard Agar. I'm sure they'll be sending the messages down. The fans shouting out for forward. That big surge up the middle of the park by Luluwai.
Here is Webb now. Ablett holds it up for Lee Smith. Lee Smith in the centres this evening with Senior in the second row. Stopped in his tracks. Good tackle by Briscoe. A crossfield kick again. Lynn is under pressure. Long goes to support him. Lynn gets it at the second attempt. Bounced up nicely for him.
It was a superb catch from Reece Lynn. I've watched him over a number of years. I'm very much a developing player. Just watch. It's 100% composure, commitment. He's got big players coming down on him. A marvellous catch from him. That will do his confidence the world of God as well.
There is the youngster. Now Berrigan, very versatile player, coming into dummy half there. Houghton. Long sells the dummy. The ball takes a ricochet, I think. Briscoe has to retrieve it.
He's running across the line, Sean Long, looking for one of his teammates to hit a hole. Nobody there on that occasion.
Let's not forget, Tez, they're a man down and they've had to make a change already. Sam Moore, after 15-16 minutes, he's been rotated. He's onto the pitch, and Richard Agar will need to be smart with his changes now. He's a big man.
Good shot. Yeaman it was. Made his presence felt there.
Well, he's trying to lift his teammates with that. And now just watch Hull FC now. When one of your teammates put a shot on, it really does lift your teammates.
Well, Radford in the dressing room, and that is the second successive sending off for Hull FC, because Jordan Tansey, in a home game, Jordan Tansey sent off in the game against Crusaders, the one they won controversially with that last-minute penalty.
Is that another shot?
Again, good defence, Fitzgibbon, that occasion.
On the last now, Sinfield deciding to run it. Nobody on the same wavelength. So Maguire puts the crossfield kick in. Briscoe comes for it, puts it down. It's play on, says the referee, as the young winger sweeps it up.
Well, good reaction by Tom Briscoe. He goes up for the ball, he challenges it, goes backwards, says the referee. Pounces straight on the ball to bring it forward. Here's another man who can make a big inroad this afternoon, big Sam Moore.
Sam Moore making his 33rd Hull appearance, and all of them have come off the bench. Here is Danny Houghton. Craig Hall. Hall can't make much progress. Brian McLennan watching on, waiting for his side to take advantage of this supremacy they've got in numbers out there, but they're up against an even more determined Hull side now, and that's a good kick into the corner, and it's pinned Webb in there, but Webb gets it infield to the well-positioned Donald, and Donald trying to build up a head of steam to bring it back.
Well, that was a very good kick. On the 4th tackle, choosing to kick early, but just the strike power that they have at the back. Donald and Brent Webb, absolutely fantastic for this Leeds side.
Brent Webb knew exactly what he was doing then. As he says, Scott Donald served the Rhinos with distinction for many, many years. In my opinion, one of the better and one of the best overseas players the Leeds club have had for a long, long time.
Sinfield was looking to get Greg Eastwood away. Tackled though by Willie Manu. Maguire with the kick into the corner. Some equally good kickers, but that's going to find touch.
they won't be too bothered with that. The pace of the game for the opening 18.5 minutes has been ferocious, to say the least. A couple of incidents either way. I'm sure both sets of players will take the chance just to take a few deep breaths, figure out where they're going to go next, what they're going to do next. It's been a tremendous opening period.
And it is a very leisurely approach to this scrum by both sides, in fact. Well, Hull up against it, they need some inspiration. Maybe they'll take inspiration from the crew of the Humber lifeboats, who they visited just a couple of weeks ago on a day off. Went down to Spurn Point, went out on the boat with the lifeboat men. There are players out there who are heroes to these fans, but as the players acknowledge, the job that those guys do down at Spurn Point is real life and death stuff. And I know that those not on duty tonight, possibly even those on duty at the lifeboats station, will be watching. Most of them are Hull FC supporters. There is one lone Rover supporter down there at the ends of the earth. Who knows, could yet be Hull FC against Hull Kingston Rovers in the playoffs. Long back in field to Craig Hall. Hull still coping with the loss of their club captain, Lee Radford. There is the captain on the pitch, Sean Long. Kick into the corner, not a bad one. Under pressure again. That'll do for Hull, that'll do, say the supporters. Just keep Leeds down that end of the field.
They'll be happy with that, Sean Long especially. A good kick. And Leeds' defence in that set was very good. But you've got to say that man, Hull have definitely suffered when he's not been playing this year, especially the kicking game and the direction that he gives around the park.
The Leeds supporters at their end of the ground, getting behind their sides. They've done well. Expensive trip down to London for the Challenge Cup last weekend, and a not particularly pleasurable one either, but they're hearing good numbers to urge their side over the finishing line in the regular season to take fourth spot in the table. It's with Greg Eastwood. Eastwood on his way out of the club after getting a release. Plays the ball. Here is Senior now, still going strong. He'll be going strong next season, Keith Senior. He plays the ball. Ablett now.
Again, just simple yardage plays by Leeds, everything in and around the ruck area.
Burrow's kick. Touching goal. Come back to the 20.
Just a couple of inches too strong from Rob Burrow there, just hits the corner flag. But again, not afraid to get the ball off the island, take the rest, and show a bit of composure. And you're right, Tez, it were very tight. Everything going back down that block hole. But nice close support from Hull FC.
Horn gets to his feet to play the ball. Here is Tickle. Tickle looking for Craig Hall. Hall, good offload from him. Willie Manu now. Manu up to the halfway line for the Black and Whites. Reece Lynn. Here is Kirk Yeaman now. Yeaman gets to his feet, makes a few more yards, and the ball somehow squirts out. Not sure whether Yeaman offloaded or whether it just popped out the back door, but they've got numbers out wide here now. If Berrican can get it to Briscoe. Briscoe steps back in field. Great work from Briscoe. What a try for the youngster. Wrong footing the Rhinos' defence there. They're appealing for obstruction, and Ian Smith has heard their appeals. Well, he was on the point of awarding the try there. He was confronted by a sea of waving Rhinos' arms. Not sure if that's what a referee should be doing, but he's going to ask Thierry Alibert, the video ref, to have a look at this.
Some quality hands as the ball goes back along the inside. There is a possible obstruction between Hull FC player and I think it's Carl Ablett with his arms up in the air.
Briscoe surely has got the first try of the game for the 12 men of Hull FC. He has. And what a finish that was for the 20-year-old. 14 Super League tries this season for Tom Briscoe. And that took a bit of finishing.
As you say, you'd think that it was Hull FC who had the numerical advantage. That offload though, whilst it was ugly, meant that Hull FC were against a scattered defence, and Leeds were always running towards the sideline. And Tom Briscoe, the intelligent rugby league player that he is, just cuts back along the outside. Just watch this from Yeeman. He gets up, throws it to anybody really, because he knows that there will be somebody expecting that. Having watched the game at Wembley, Leeds fell down in that area last week. Beautiful hands. Tom Briscoe is such an exciting player. His instinct for try scoring, that's quality. Richard Agar knows if they want to keep in this game with 12 men, they need to take every chance that they get.
Briscoe got 4 tries in the defeat at Leeds in April, but he hasn't got a try here at the KC Stadium since June the 6th. Well, he's back on target on home soil. Danny Tickle very much on target with a boot this season. That's 19 in a row he's kicked now. Danny Tickle, and it's given Hull FC a 6-0 lead.
Well, Tom Briscoe, one of the best talents around, but you can see Leeds, they just pushed too far on defence, and just because the sheer enthusiasm that they want to defend. But Tom Briscoe, fantastic try. That's what it means to the Hull FC fans.
The restart, oh, and a bit of dithering there, and it's Sam Moa who rescues the situation. A lot of to me, to you there. Richard Horne looking at it, Craig Hall looking at it. It was Moa who came up with it. There he is playing the ball.
Do you know, in that situation, you would expect the back man to overcall it. He would call for that ball, catch it on the full, and there is no confusion then.
Here's Willie Manu now, took the helm of the lifeboat when they were out there the other week. Dave Steenvoorden very bravely allowed Willie Manu to steer the ship. Well, Hull not on the rocks at the moment.
He needs to be careful, Brett Delaney there. He's shouting at the referee as if it's his fault that the penalty has been given. There's no problem and there's no danger that that was a penalty. Just get on with the job.
He's given Hull a big lift since he's come on.
Samoa was a big guy.
He's as big as an entire country.
Here is Richard Horne. Hull ahead by 6 points to 0. Radford sent off for that scrap with Ryan Bailey. And here is Craig Fitzgibbon.
On most attacking players, Hull FC, they're always setting up on the left to attack Rob Burrow on the right. On Leeds' left-hand side.
Danny Houghton now. Tackled by Maguire. Off goes Yeeman. Yeeman taking it right into the thick of things, and again looking to offload. This time though, it doesn't come off, and it's Ian Kirk who snaps it up.
He just couldn't get that ball away to one of his teammates. They've got to defend now, Hull. Leeds playing on the front foot. Here it is. He gets his arm free, tries to push it back to Sean Long. Kirk realised exactly what he was doing. Good work by Lee Smith, bringing this ball away.
Lee Smith displaying his versatility this afternoon. Switch to the centres. Ryan Hall now. Hall, good work from him. Good step, and then looked to offload it. Almost got it away to Ali Lawatiti, who was just arriving, just a fraction too late. Badiris, though, has broken through. Badiris again looking to get it in field. He does so, and Yeeman swoops on it just at the last minute when it looked as though Delaney might get there first.
That is how dangerous Danny Badiris is when he jumps from dummy half on the back of a quick play of the ball. He just needed some of his teammates to be on the same wavelength. He tries to get it to Danny Maguire on the outside, passes it back inside. Unfortunately to a Hull FC player.
Big impact by Greg Eastwood there in the tackle on Danny Tickle. Ali Lawatiti on the field then for the Leeds Rhinos. Another one like Scott Donald, who was left out for the Wembley game. So maybe with a bit of a point to prove in the closing weeks of the season. It's the last regular game of the season before the playoffs start. Long, little chip kick for Horne. Horne blocked to us. Surely, no, referee says play on. There's a hand in there from Webb. They'll bring it back. But in the end, Hull are feeling for a lot more than that. They'll get head and feet at the scrum, but the FC supporters feeling that their man was taken out.
Again, a clever little kick. But what about the pick-up here from Sean Long? He reacts, Craig Hall miskicks it. He tries to set free one of his teammates on the inside. He backs it up, Richard Hall going down. And what about that? Look at that for the pick-up from the old man. Danny Houghton in support of the middle of the park. And Richard Agard appealing for the referee.
The referee insisting that Hull get the right number of men in the scrum, so Craig Hall goes in there. Of course, they've got no Radford. Berrigan, good step and run, and he'd play on, says the referee. He wasn't tackled, so they get it out wide to Tickle. Tickle comes back infield. He's looking for an offload, but Leeds get him all wrapped up there. It's Badiris with the tackle. Here is Fitzgibbon now. Fitzgibbon for Long. Long for Manu. Manu, legs driving. Across comes Kirk to finish him off for the Rhinos. Leeds again back on their own try line. They pop it up for Fitzgibbon, for Long, for Tickle. Tickle steps back in field, back for Long. Long, little grubber kick through. Webb fields it superbly. Just cruised onto that, made it his own.
Brent Webb's positioning at the back is impeccable. He's always in the right place at the right time. He tracks at the back of the line. Just see him, the bottom of the screen, wherever the ball is, he knows that's where he needs to be. Whether it's from deep kicks or it's goal line defence, he's impeccable in that area.
But Hull defying the odds at the moment. They lead by 6 points to 0. They're a man down, half an hour gone. And it's Leeds who are having to do the bulk of defending so far, but Eastwood has split them open. He's got Burrow in support. If he can get the ball to him, he might not need him. It's Hall with the tackle though. That's the 5th tackle. Diskin is on there. Hull in a bit of disarray here. Leeds surely can take advantage. Ryan Hall comes back in field. Ryan Hall gets it away. It's back and it's Bailey. Bailey gets the boos of the crowd. He is tackled. That'll be the turnover.
What about the footwork from Eastwood? Absolutely fantastic from the big man. Ryan Bailey getting caught in possession. But Leeds are so dangerous. They've got so many match winners in the side.
I think Brian McLennan, he'd have been frustrated with the lack of composure there. Ryan Bailey really has no choice. Ryan Hall just flops it backwards. And they saw an opportunity, the Rhinos. And there you see the frustration on Brian McLennan.
Fitzgibbon, oh, he squeezed that ball out somehow to Houghton. Berrigan, wonderful step from Berrigan. Can he get Briscoe away? He can. Has Briscoe got the legs? No, Donald closes him down. He gets the ball back in field, but Leeds managed to salvage the situation there, for the moment anyway. But they're really looking to test that Leeds left-hand side. Long, back on the inside. Cusack who plays the ball. Sean Long. 5th tackle as Long goes to ground.
30 minutes, Bill. I think that's the first time Sean Long's played the ball.
Horn stabs the kick in. Once more, Brent Webb makes it look easy.
They use a phrase in rugby league, he can play in a dinner jacket. And Sean Long has scooped the ball on, he's kicked it, he's passed it, he's committed people. But to my knowledge, that's the first time he's played the ball and been caught in possession.
Maguire. Here goes Lee Smith. 4 tackles gone, and Leeds just struggling to make a bit of progress at the moment. Oh, and Delaney has put the ball down. Sinfield looks to the skies. Delaney looks like thunder.
Well, you can see the ball dipping. Delaney drops the ball, but some of the Leeds players need to offer themselves a bit more. They're all looking round for who's going to take the team forward. It wasn't the best passes from Kevin Sinfield.
Well, the question before the game was, would last weekend's experience at Wembley have an effect on the Rhinos? Could they shake that off? And can they come, the 5th team in the Super League era, to come back from such a setback and win the big prize at Old Trafford? But ominously for them, since the cup final was put back to August, no team, having suffered a defeat in the cup final, has come back like that to win at Old Trafford.
I've no doubt that within the strength of character of this Rhinos team, they've got it. Whether they can find it today, we'll have to keep waiting and see.
Well, the field. And Washbrook, who had been a starter in the last 11 games, on the bench today and adding to Hull's tally.
Well, the knock-on from Brett Delaney from this position, you almost saw the energy leak out of the Rhinos' defence, and this is an outstanding ball. An inside pass from the man playing in a dinner jacket today, Sean Long. Just watch this for skill. One-handed offload, and Danny Washbrook just pushing up in support, nice and close. Capitalises on some very, very smart play. This is an outstanding performance in the face of adversity today for Hull FC. Down to 12 men, and their fans are right behind them.
And Danny Tickle has the opportunity to add to Danny Washbrook's try, and Richard Agar must be so thrilled with the character his side have shown, whereas in the Leeds corner there's a bit of thinking to do. Tickle from bang in front of the posts. Another success from the boot of Danny Tickle. Just one miss in his last 26 attempts at goal. That's the sort of goal-kicking form he's in. And Hull, 12 men on the pitch, 12-0 up.
Well, Sean Long's one of the best because he's willing to take the ball to the line and he attracts the defenders to him. The Leeds players just over chasing on that defence, and what a ball from Fitzgibbon to set Danny Washbrook up for that try.
Well, Sean Long in today's match programme saying that he wanted to repay the faith and patience that the Hull supporters have shown as he's been battling these injuries, and he's doing that out there this evening. Here is Danny Tickle now. Leeds have hardly been down this end of the field in about the last 15 minutes.
No, they need to take control of this game, play the game at the speed that they want to play it.
Again, I know I'm harbouring the point, but the lack of composure on the last tackle, and just the little things, the little chinks in their armour that are letting them down. And that ball stripped, and that's a penalty, and that's one of those chinks.
See, now this is where it's silly. Now Leeds now starting to put themselves under pressure. You can see Danny Maguire, he's trying to take Kurt Yeaman to ground. One arm under his legs, one arm on the ball, pulls him down. Unfortunately, strips that part, strips the ball.
Half-time approaching. Hull ahead by 12 points to 0. Here is Long. Fitzgibbon now. Bailey, keen to be involved. Head strapped now after that set two earlier on. Horn delays the pass and then finds Tickle. They're up to the 20-metre line. Cusack, Fitzgibbon took that one standing still really. He's got Ian Kirk all over him. Held Christ, referee Ian Smith. As Fitzgibbon plays the ball, Danny Hout now, Long just drifting behind him. And then the pass to nobody, and Briscoe will have to retrieve it. Does so. Burrow was trying to beat him to the ball there.
Well, he loses that ball, but it's gone backwards, said the referee Ian Smith.
Horn's kick. Hall will chase. Not sure whether Sean Long wasn't aiming for the post there.
Just a little bit too much meat on that. Won't be too disappointed. Making, yeah, they were offside then from that tap.
I wonder if it was because they really wanted to.
Well, that was a greeting party. They just wanted to get up on and put some pressure on him.
They just want to give Ryan Bailey a bit of stick. There's about 6 or 7 Hull FC players.
Me.
He's a player that commands that, Ryan Bailey.
On the line, Kevin.
Gets under some people's skin. Does an excellent job for the Rhinos, though.
The penalty takes Leeds up to the halfway line. Well, they've got time before the end of this first 40 minutes to get something on the scoreboard, to get things heading in the right direction, because it's been pretty shaky performance in the Rhinos. especially since going behind to Tom Briscoe's try. Bailey, the cheers of the crowd, well, the whole supporters ringing in his ears. Leeds missing that man. Jamie Peacock looking on intently from the sidelines. Ablett took the pass from Burrow. Sinfield. Hands up, off to Maguire. Maguire was looking over his shoulder for some movement. There wasn't any coming. Looks to the referee for the penalty. Nothing coming there. Diskin takes it on to Sinfield. Now maybe they've got the opportunity, but Kirk is tackled. That's the fourth tackle. As Diskin finds Webb. Webb, oh! Bailey, it cannons off him. I'm not sure whether he was the intended recipient there.
Well, that was the biggest cheer from the Hull FC fans today. Ryan Bailey with the mistake. Kevin Sinfield looking to hit Bailey. He wasn't expecting that pass. But that was good defence by Tickle as well. He put pressure on Ryan Bailey. Got in his eye line, forcing him to make that mistake.
So another opportunity bombed by the Rhinos. And it'll be head and feet to Hull FC, and they'll take as much time as they can at this scrum. There is Reece Lynn.
To be fair to Leeds, they've just got to believe in what they can do. They've split Hull on a number of occasions in this first half. They've just got to get over the try line and score the points.
Briscoe, there was a Leeds hand in there, was there? The ball seemed to take a dip. No, says the referee. Play on. It's a poor pass from Briscoe. And Hull lucky to get away with that. Here is Fitzgibbon once more. A manful effort from Fitzgibbon. Playoff veteran, of course, from his Australian days with the Roosters and St George Illawarra Dragons. Craig Fitzgibbon. Here's Peter Cusack up to the 40-metre line. To the last couple of minutes of this first half. Houghton now scoots away. Finds along. That's the fifth tackle, though. Vaughan makes himself available for the kick. Puts the kick in, it's too strong, way too strong. And a good chase from Bailey.
Kick pressure from Ryan Bailey meant that Richard Holm had to catch it and kick it. And Richard Agar knows the kicking game, all in all, for 39 and a bit minutes has been pretty good.
And looked at the clock in the big screen away across the other side of the stadium from him and saw there's about 30 seconds to go for his side to withstand the pressure here, but can they? Because Delaney is away. Delaney takes on Craig Hall, gets the kick in field, and it's fielded by Danny Houghton. Maguire goes for the ball steal, doesn't come up with it. McLennan is furious.
Well, Hull did an excellent job then. There were too many bodies in between Brett Delaney and his supporting runners. He had little option other than to put it on the end of his toe and gamble that one of his teammates was in the right place.
The hooter sounds, and the Hull supporters salute the effort from their side. Up against it from the moment Lee Radford was sent off, but with Sean Long pulling the strings for his side, they are defying the odds here so far. The battle is on for fourth place. At the moment, Hull FC are halfway there. They lead by 12 points to 0.
Remarkable first half from the Black and Whites, down to 12 men with Lee Radford sent off, but they've scored through Briscoe and Washbrook. It's 12-0 to Hull at half-time. The champions and the beaten cup finalists, they're up against it.
Sponsors Super League on Sky Sports.
Saturday Fight Night is back on Sky Sports. WBO champion Roman Martinez takes on Ricky Burns for the super featherweight title. Live tonight at 9, Sky Sports HD1.
Smirnoff and Cola, perfect for the evening.
Santander's new loyalty tracker bond tracks any changes in the Bank of England base rate for 12 months. It's available to our mortgage, investment and main current account customers and anyone who switches their current account to us. With a great 3.25% rate, we'll help you get whatever you're saving for. Just what you'd expect from a savings specialist. The Loyalty Tracker Bond. Call us or visit a local branch. Together, we are Santander.
With Auto Trader now on your mobile, we're with you wherever you're looking for a car. So it's even easier to compare prices.
£5.5 grand and she's yours.
Okay. Find local dealers. Check out more cars and choose the one that's right for you. Visit Auto Trader, the world of cars made easy.
First you and me, share them together, extra crunchy, save one for me, share them together, new extra crunchy.
New thicker cut Walker's Extra Crunchy, made for sharing. Sometimes.
We don't know how to write a #1 bestseller. We don't know how to build stupendous skyscrapers. We don't know how to paint a Venetian masterpiece or how to reconfigure the inner workings of the modern-day laptop. But we do know how to make a brilliant burger. The M, with 100% beef, Emmental cheese and a delicious stone-baked roll. The M, with or without bacon.
When you approach things from a different perspective, you don't end up with just another car. You end up with the all-new Saab 9.5.
England are in the World Cup final. Mighty New Zealand stand in the way of the biggest prize in women's rugby. In association with Amlin, the Women's Rugby World Cup final. Sunday at 5, Sky Sports HD3.
Iron Brew sponsors Super League on Sky Sports.
Well, we promised you 5 hours of fun at the start of the show, and we promised you this would be a fantastic Super League Super Saturday. Coming up after the game at Hull FC, St Helens against Castleford, the last ever match here at Knowsley Road in the league. Playoff games, of course, to come. Saints Castleford at 6:30. Stay with us for that, but stay with us also for the second half of this, and what a game at the KC Stadium. Hull FC 12, the Leeds Rhinos 0. Briscoe and Washbrook with the tries for Hull, and Danny Tickle with 2 successful conversions. But the match, of course, overshadows is the wrong word to use, but certainly one of the major headlines is that Hull down to 12 men after only 12 minutes or so, when Lee Radford, their captain, was sent off for punching Ryan Bailey. But the Challenge Cup finalists, the Leeds Rhinos, they really are up against it, aren't they, at the moment? They were beaten badly at Wembley. They have 13 men playing 12, but they are still 12-0 down at the KC Stadium at half-time, and sliding down the table as we approach the playoffs. All will become clear by 9 o'clock, because there are matches being played right across the competition this afternoon that will bring us to a conclusion as to where the teams will finish 1 to 8. So stay with us for all of that. And I said right at the start of the programme that we have the first team on duty today. They're out all over the place, and Sean McRae is here at St Helens, of course, the last ever match at Knowsley Road in the league. Sean was the coach of St Helens when Super League began in 1996. So it's a nostalgic day for you, but you, I know, have been watching Hull against the Leeds Rhinos. What a start. What a controversial start.
Well, the playoffs have begun early, haven't they, Eddie? They've begun a week early, and it was, you can just see the passion and the emotion with both sides. And the incident with Lee Radford and Ryan Bailey in particular just typifies what's going through both players, sets of players' minds. You see Ryan Bailey there is trying to get off the ground to play the ball. I think he was a little aggressive himself, but Lee Radford coming in throwing those punches when Ryan Bailey's not really in a position to defend himself. I can understand why he's been sent off, why he was sent from the field. I understand the decision from the referee, but Hull have then played the game as if they've still got 13 men on the field, though. They've been terrific with the football. They've won the collision, both offensively, defensively. They've got some offloads like that sometimes come off for you, but enables you to play free because the defence is retreating. And see the try here from Tom Briscoe. He's got to beat a few players.
Took some scoring.
Oh, he's an excellent finisher, very strong. Little hint of perhaps an obstruction there. I'm sure that the video referee got that absolutely right. Wonderful offload from Craig Fitzgibbon to Danny Washbrook, and with the conversion making it 12-0. And players like Craig Fitzgibbon would need to have had to stand up today in these big games. And he's been outstanding. And I think, Eddie, really the point is that I don't think Richard Agar will talk at half-time about them being down to 12 men. I don't think that's got to be a focal point at all. But Brian McLennan, I think, will be livid with his team because they've had chance after chance to get, well, not out of the game, but to certainly get on the scoreboard, but they just haven't taken it. They look a little uncoordinated, I suppose would be a term I'd use. People are just not quite hitting holes where they should, and passes are not quite sticking. And is that a hangover from last week?
Well, I was going to ask you that. Because the Leeds Rhino supporters will have been frightened to death that this was going to happen. Yeah. You know, they were embarrassed, to use their own captain's word, at Wembley 7 days ago. They look as though they've got a cup hangover. If Huddersfield win in the south of France tonight, Leeds lose this one, they enter the playoffs from 6th. That's a big ask.
It sure is, and I think that, you know, talking about defeat is one thing, actioning it's another thing, and I'm not sure that Leeds have come out tonight actioning as well as they perhaps would have thought, and perhaps as well as they're prepared. What you've got to remember is they've come up against a very fresh Hull FC team who didn't play last week. They've got Richard Horn back, they've got Sean Long back, and I think those two guys, just the number of games they've had in their careers, has just added a wealth of experience to the team. It's added a lot of confidence to the team. Lee Radford going off has galvanised them. It's got them even closer together, and they just look like a complete outfit. Whether they can hang on with 12 men is hard to say. The way they've finished that half, they certainly can. But somewhere in the next 40 minutes, it will take its toll, and that's when Hull are going to be placed on enormous pressure. I don't think they can win this game unless they score more points.
You think, honestly, that Leeds will come back in the second half, that they'll try and put the last 80 minutes and the last 40 minutes behind them, and that will be Brian McLennan's message now? Forget what's gone, just attack what's ahead of you.
Well, I think what Brian will say is to, look, we've got 40 minutes to get this right. Don't panic, don't overreact, stay patient, perhaps even be a little more patient, build some pressure on this team. I think that's what Leeds haven't done in the first 40 minutes. They've not built any pressure. They've gone towards doing that, and they've turned the ball over. And Hull FC have capitalised on that. But Hull have been terrific. Hull FC have been terrific in this game and deserve to lead 12-0, but of course the job's only half done.
The job is only half done, and as you can probably hear in the background, the atmosphere is building here already to what is coming at Knowsley Road. St Helens against Castleford will follow the fireworks that we're having at the KC Stadium. It's Hull FC against the Leeds Rhinos. The champions are up against it. All right, they're playing 12 men in black and white, but at the moment they're 12-0 down. What does the second half have in store? You're in the place to find out.
Sponsors Super League on Sky Sports.
For over 100 years, we've been passionate about building cars. We've innovated and we've celebrated. We've seen things a little differently from other manufacturers. And although we haven't always taken ourselves too seriously, we've always been serious about good ideas. That's why we're the first manufacturer in the UK to offer you a warranty that could last a lifetime. A warranty that could last a lifetime, only from Vauxhall.
I like your messy hair, I like the clothes you wear, I like the way you sing, and when you dance with me, you always make me smile. So no,
we understand you're at your best when you can just relax and be yourself. And at Holiday Inn, you always can.
At Simply Health, we believe that your health is the most important thing of all. That's why we take time to help you find the right health plan. If you're looking for affordable ways of helping towards your medical insurance and everyday healthcare costs, join over 2 million people who are already part of Simply Health. Why? Because we can be bothered.
Now, I bet you didn't know that Everest put some of this into its products. Or even some of this. But then you probably didn't realise that Everest now has over 60 beautiful fitted kitchens for you to choose from. And did you know that Everest has now made its best A-rated windows even better? So they save you money and make your home warmer and more secure than it's ever been before. Now, be honest, you didn't expect Everest to be doing that today, did you?
You want to go to the movies?
From £4 extra a week, enjoy hundreds of different movies, including 5 new premieres a week. A year before any Freeview channel. Don't miss great blockbusters like Terminator Salvation and The Hangover. What's more, Sky Movies allows you to watch them when you want, with Sky Player and Sky Anytime. What are you waiting for? Upgrade today. Call 08442 410 249 or Sky customers press red now.
Iron Brew sponsors Super League on Sky Sports.
Well, still to come live here on Sky Sports this Saturday. We have boxing for you. Roman Martinez takes on Ricky Burns. That follows us here on Sky Sports HD1 at 9 o'clock. It's for the WBO Super Featherweight title. 9 o'clock, HD1, Martinez against Burns. A bit of a boxing match gone on at the KC Stadium as well, and Lee Radford has been shown the red card, the Hull captain, for throwing punches at Ryan Bailey of the Leeds Rhinos, who ended up in the sin bin. Hull are ahead though, 12 points to 0 as we approach the second half. Briscoe and Washbrook's tries tickle with the 2 goals. Back to the KC Stadium then. The commentary team is Barry McDermott, Terry O'Connor, but first of all we'll hear from Bill Arthur.
And the supporters just waiting for these two sides to get it on again in the second half after that rip-roaring first 40 minutes that had just about everything. And Leeds with a job to do in this second half, and Kevin Sinfield looking like a pretty determined man, but they know they've got a good record here and that their away form is strong. They've won 5 of their last 6 away games in Super League, have the Rhinos. You get the feeling that with confidence low maybe after the Wembley experience, all it would take would be a try to get the Rhinos back on their feet. Just need that spark to lift them perhaps.
Well, they're creating an awful lot of chances, Leeds. They just need to start taking them. I'm sure Sean Long would have been sending it to his teammates at half-time. Let's keep moving them around, keep pushing them around side to side, creating chances for ourselves. And I think that's exactly what they're going to try and do in this second half.
It'll be Hull FC who'll get us underway. Bit of concern in the Leeds ranks about the fitness of Fali Lauatiti, who didn't seem to be out there too long for the Rhinos in the first 40 minutes, but the word from the sidelines, he's okay. We'll get more from Rod Studd on that, presumably. in a while. Here is the bogeyman for the Hull supporters, Ryan Bailey, but he rides the challenge from Cusack and plays the ball.
There's fantastic impact there. And Hull FC, they'll be delighted with that first half show, and especially with the fact that they're down to 12 men. I think the Rhinos will have gone in at half-time and talked about building pressure, talked about being patient. But Sean McCraney's half-time analysis was spot on. They don't need to take every chance that they get, just build pressure.
That's a good kick from Sinfield, deep behind Ryan Hall. It's the sort of contest that Jamie Peacock would love to be involved with. He can't be because of that knee injury. He is instead on the sidelines talking to Rod.
As Bill was just saying, to say that first half was disappointing, though, for Leeds is an understatement. To go 12-0 down against 12 men is not good enough. And what was the mood like in the changing room?
I think the lads just want to put it right in this second half. I think they know the tide will turn. I think with 12 men we'll get tired in the second half. All if we can complete some sets anyway, and hopefully we can get back into the game. You know, we can get back 12 points.
You've been in those kind of wars out there in the front line, as it were. Did you think it was a sending off?
I can't really comment on that. You know, it's difficult to say really.
And just finally, I mean, it won't be the end of the season if Leeds lose, obviously, but how big a blow to morale would it be if you couldn't put 12 men away?
Yeah, it'd sap the confidence away. I think, you know, we're a bit low after the final anyway, so we need to come away with a good 40 minutes here and get ourselves back in the playoffs and get ourselves into the top 4.
Thanks for talking to us, Jamie. Good luck for your operation on Thursday.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks.
Yeah, best of luck to JP for a speedy recovery. Won't be speedy enough for England, of course.
Well, I think that meant that he didn't think that he deserved to get sent off by not answering the question.
It was very diplomatic, wasn't it?
It was a tremendous Arsene Wenger impression, weren't it? I did not see the incident.
German? I thought he was French, Arsene Wenger. Never mind.
Irish.
All these years, and there I was labouring under the misapprehension. The ball is with the Rhinos, as Jamie Peacock said, just a little bit low on confidence. And here is Kevin Sinfield leading the Rhinos. Still 40 minutes to go. As Maguire takes the ball on, and they've got it wide now to Delaney. Delaney has Hall on his outside, but really tight to the sidelines, so comes back in field, Brett Delaney.
Well, they're getting good play by Leeds.
3 tackles gone. Delaney plays the ball. Here is Maguire now. Maguire steps once, twice, tries to reverse, gets the ball away to Ryan Hall. Hall, strong running from this big, strong winger, gets the ball out the back door, finds Rob Burrow eventually. Burrow, Ablett misread that, but Lee Smith didn't, and Smith comes back for more. Berrigan with the tackle. Berrigan concedes the penalty. It was a grapple tackle.
Well, they get the penalty here. And the grapple tackle from Berrigan, it says it's that second one there that he pushes Lee Smith down with.
That's all the Rhinos wanted, another invitation from this whole defence, which has got the black and whites marching back towards their own try line. As Kylie Luluai plays the ball, Sinfield, Maguire holds the ball up, Kirk on the charge. And they were offside, Hull. It's going to be back-to-back penalties. They really are under the cosh here. Can they survive once more? Here is Sinfield now. This is a golden opportunity for Leeds. They've got the numbers out wide here. It's with Donald, and Donald will get the try that Leeds so desperately needed. Back in the side after missing out at Wembley. Scott Donald has been a bit on the fringes this season for the Rhinos. But 9 tries for the Super League season now for Scott Donald. And what a crucial try that could be for Brian McLennan's men.
Well, a perfect start for Leeds, putting Hull on under pressure. A couple of back-to-back penalties. Here's the first one, Berrigan with that second effort on Lee Smith. And then on this occasion, it's Sean Long who's offside. He's trying to go, put some pressure on Bailey and Kirk. You can't invite Leeds down here and keep giving them up the penalties because they will kill you. Just look at the width that they play. You can see that Kevin Sinfield gives the ball to Burrow, and that is fantastic vision from Burrow. Scott Donald just plays with width. He holds the touchline, and that's a great ball from Rob Burrow to send the winger in for the try.
Scott Donald leaving the club at the end of this season. And now that try gives Kevin Sinfield the opportunity to add the extras. Sinfield likes this ground. He's scored on all 10 of the Rhinos' visits to the KC since its opening in 2003. He's on target again and has cut the deficit with a kick from the sidelines. And Leeds have got the start they wanted in the second half. They've cut the deficit, 12-6 in favour of Hull FC. Donald with the try.
Well, we've used the phrase build pressure, and that's exactly what the Rhinos did on this occasion. It's a fantastic pass, right on the button from Rob Burrow. But those two penalties meant that Hull FC's focus was purely and simply on surviving. Not just defending the line, but keeping the Rhinos away from it.
Like a pantomime villain now. Ryan Bailey, and certainly in the eyes of these Hull FC supporters, was getting on with his day job.
He's getting some stick off the Hull FC fans.
I still stand strong, by the way, lads. I've had time to think about that. I think a sin bin in for both players.
Oh, the mistake by Burrow, and it's come up for Hull FC, for Briscoe, and Briscoe just short of the try line. That's got to be a penalty. Get up, says the referee. He couldn't.
Oh, I think that was a touch chance. I'm sure that should have been a penalty.
Well, O'Mealy made a meal of that, but the referee said it went backwards, and the ball is with Tickle. And Briscoe once more, so close, and again he's being held up there. Ablett underneath him, the referee having nothing to do with it, but an opportunity this now for Hull to come again. Cusack trying to turn and offload the ball, he can't do so. And they're only about 5 metres away. 4 tackles gone are the black and whites of Hull FC. Long. The ball out wide to Washbrook. Washbrook holds it up. Here is Craig Hall. Hall back in field to Washbrook once more. Washbrook for O'Mealy now. O'Mealy legs driving. That's the 5th tackle. At least a repeat set would do for Hull FC here. Houghton stabs the kick in. And Maguire gets out of trouble. Well, just managed to evade the clutches of Washbrook. And did well there.
Good read by Danny Maguire and good footwork to get over the try line. He's put under pressure from this Hull FC side again. He's here, Ryan Bailey offering himself. Good footwork to evade the tackle from Washbrook.
And what he did, as soon as he knew he was within distance of that line, he got a really low body angle. If any Hull FC player was in the vicinity, he wasn't going to push him back over.
They're sending the big man up. Simple plays by Leeds, getting to the kick.
Luluai plays the ball, and Burrow thumps the kick downfield, looking for a 40-20. Just takes a bit of a spin the wrong way, and it's Craig Hall who fields the ball. Burrow on the chase.
That was a very good set of 6 from Leeds. Danny Maguire just getting over the try line, so they come almost 95 metres in that.
Referee Ian Smith getting all sorts of stick. He was due for a quiet afternoon today. Got the call up in place of Phil Bentham. Anything but a quiet afternoon for Ian Smith.
Well, as soon as he got the call for this game, he must have known there's no such thing as a quiet Hull FC Leeds Rhinos derby. Full of passion. And Ian Smith will be loving every second of it.
Yeaman gets the ball and the tackle from Maguire at the same time, and Maguire doing well, and they're hounding Hull backwards. And Leeds, Hull coming forwards now with Berrigan. Berrigan slips the ball, looking for Briscoe. Referee says it went backwards. And Briscoe looking to open up a gap in the Leeds defence. They're unable to do so because of the tackle of Kylie Luluai. Houghton stabs the kick in. Let's get this ball up there into the corner. It's a good kick as well, just a bit too strong.
Well, just too much on this, but Hull FC are getting the 50-50 calls in this game. Everything seems to be going with them.
Referee just asking Diskin to restart from the middle of the 20-metre line. Hull still ahead by 12 points to 6. Remember, they're down to 12 men. Lee Radford sent off. Second successive sending off for Hull after Jordan Tamsey against the Crusaders.
Keith Senior has just rejoined the Rhinos. Kylie Luluai coming off the pitch. Keith Senior assuming his role back in the forwards. And his intelligence and experience will be needed now.
Here he is in possession, Senior. Made his 500th career appearance on this ground last year. still going strong, will be going strong next season. Brent Webb loops the ball over the top, looking for Ryan Hall. Hall so hard to stop, bouncing off the first challengers, then gets the pass away to Kirk. Kirk, great run from him, good offload. Now they've got the opportunity, looking to get it wide to Smith. Smith, great try in the corner from Lee Smith. Hurled himself towards the try line. Did he get the ball down is the question Ian Smith wants video ref Thierry Alibert to look at. Did he? Lee Smith overshoot there, perhaps?
Did he ground this ball? This is what he's looking for. I don't think there's a problem with that. Good play by Lee Smith.
Tom Briscoe. Oh! Has he dropped it? Done it again, Tom Briscoe. Well, it certainly leaves the grasp of his right hand. Does he regather it with his left? Tom Briscoe is an absolute genius if this is a no try.
It was his tackle on Peter Fox on the other side of the field just a few weeks ago that was being hailed by Hull fans. Has he done it again this time? Lee Smith looks towards the screen, bites his lip. Thierry Alibert is the video ref. A good spot by Ian Smith to see that there was doubt in that. And he was right. And a chance, well, Lee Smith did well to make something of that, but maybe the ball in two hands.
Well, he tried absolutely everything. You can just see Tom Briscoe, he gripped all of his right arm, and that was enough to force Lee Smith into dropping that ball.
Well, Lee Smith has a good instinct and he's gone right for that corner. Possibly if Scott Donald cuts underneath and he passes it to him back on the inside, that may well have been a safer option, but let's not take it away from Tom Briscoe. That man is a rising star of the future, and if he's not on that plane at the end of the year, then I will be amazed.
But that again is a warning shot to Hull FC and Richard Agar. Leeds have come out in the second half with the intention of throwing that ball around.
There were a couple of offloads, Tez. There were some ugly offloads, but I think the reaction, there's a knock-on from Reece Lynn.
Lynn looks in amazement at the referee, but he spotted that one as well, did the referee Ian Smith. It's a little fumble.
Well, he loses it, but what he's saying is, did the ball touch the ground? Craig Fitzgibbon saying it didn't actually touch the ground. There you can see him getting up. Was there a Leeds hand in there anyway?
Oh, it did, didn't it?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, a trip to confession this week for Keith Senior. There was definitely a hand in there.
Senior going backwards there. Great to see that, especially after what happened to Missy Talapapa, the Sheffield captain, on Sky Sports on Thursday night when he was caught similarly in a tackle and ended up with a broken leg. It's something you like to see. No intent there, but can go horribly wrong.
That was the injury that ended Chris Clarkson's Wembley.
Well, it's Leeds coming forwards now. Here is Lee Smith, denied just a moment ago, bumps into Rob Bower, and they looked at each other.
Well, I think Lee Smith's given himself up there. He's gone in, then he's put his arms up saying, sorry sir, I didn't mean to do that.
Rob Bower looked at him and said, fancy meeting you here.
You can see, look, puts his arms straight up, gives himself away. But they are generating a lot of speed in and around the ruck area. There's the penalty. Richard Horn couldn't get to Lee Smith to make the tackle.
Does that maybe sum up Leeds' performance so far?
Well, they've probably been frustrating. That's what Brian McLean said. They are creating an awful lot of chances, but they're just not finishing them.
Here is Big Sam. Thumps into Lee Smith. Smith cannons backwards. There is no Epilahami Loaki for Hull FC. And get out of my way.
I think he was just telling Lee Smith off for giving that penalty away.
Oh, that's a wild pass, and it's going to be Long's knock-on that will now be pulled back by the referee. It wasn't the best of passes, though.
Well, Hull FC now starting to make mistakes. Wasn't the best of passes from Fitzgibbon.
Bit of fatigue. Still a long way to go.
By Tez? Well, by Tez after his mistake.
Well, see now, looking at Hull FC with 12 men, they've got to make sure they get to the kicks.
Frustration for Richard Agar.
They were successful in the first half, Hull, with nice close support. You noticed that Craig Fitzgibbon threw that ball. It was a 10-metre pass, a little bit further than short.
Bailey, Fitzgibbon all over the top. Richard Horne down below. Here goes Diskin straight up the middle. Fitzgibbon with the tackle on the 20-metre line. Leeds threatening again after that mistake. The knock-on by Sean Long. Sinfield, short ball for Senior. How many times have we seen that? Senior powering onto the short pass. And now looking to go wide. Maguire, the ball ricochets. And it's the end, it's Houghton who has to just kick it dead.
Was the Leeds player tackled without the ball? Sean Long tackles Brett Delaney before he catches that ball. Just watch. Sean Long, he only has sights on Brett Delaney. The ball hits him. That's a penalty, Ian Smith.
I'm not sure Sean Long could have got out the way of that. He was going up there to try and make the tackle.
He had no intentions of getting out of the way.
I think that's a bit harsh, that, Barry.
Yes, it is. It's a goal line dropout, and Craig Hall getting good distance on that. Comes all the way back to Ian Kirk, and Kirk will bring this ball back.
Well, that's not a bad effort. Kirk just got over halfway, but what will Hull FC's defence be like? So Leeds been rampant in this second half.
Of course, no Peacock, no Burgess for Leeds Rhinos, so the likes of Ian Kirk, Ryan Bailey having to do a bit more work. Like Greg Eastwood. Eastwood always looking for an offload, the Kiwi international. Sinfield now. Sam Moore clutches at him, but Sinfield gets the pass away. Maguire, Horne tackles him, aided by Washbrook. But Leeds starting to build up a bit of a head of steam here. Burrow out wide to Ablett. Ablett stepping back in field. Berrigan does well to clamp him so he can't get the ball away. Burrow on the last now. The chip kick. Oh, it's going to come up for who? It's still bouncing around. Is it yet a knock on by anybody? It was ricocheting all over the place, pinball stuff there, ricocheted off the post, in and out of Leeds and Hull hands, and it ends up in the hands of Reece Lynn, and Hull breathe a mighty sigh of relief.
That was anybody's ball. First it was Leeds, then it was Hull, then it was Leeds. It bounces back, Kevin Sinfield just can't take this ball in. The offload, it goes backwards from Delaney, Sean Long goes to get on it, then Reece Lynn gets it.
It was Delaney who probably had the best opportunity there, but fumbled the ball. Now here's Willie Manu. Bit of frustration for the Rhinos now.
Well, Kevin Sinfield's trying to lead from the front now. He's getting off the line quick, trying to pressure Hull FC into making mistakes down this end of the park.
Fitzgibbon, that's the 5th tackle, and they're still inside their own 40, Hull. Long. Crossfield kick, not the best. It's going to sit up nicely for Donald, and he'll bring it back from the 40-metre line. Washbrook makes the tackle.
You're
Horne
right.
On the follow-up as well.
You're right, Bill, that wasn't the best kick. They've got to put it behind the Leeds defenders, make them turn around, retreat for that ball to bring it forward.
Ablett gets away from the first tackle. It's Washbrook and Houghton who eventually bring him down.
He's injured there, Ablett. Pain on his face as he was trying to play the ball.
Just got a bang on the ankle, gets the thumbs up from the physio as he moves back out to that left-hand side. Short ball from Maguire finds Keith Senior, and Senior heading for the sidelines. Eventually manages to go to ground in the field of play. 4 tackles gone as Sinfield. Oh, now obstruction there. Kylie Luluai, I think, got it all wrong. And again, just the little things for the Rhinos just not coming off.
Well, Kylie Luluai is hitting an angle, trying to come on a short ball. Well, Kevin Sinfield has other ideas. Brian McLennan is not happy. He just wanted that ball, a short ball. He set his sights on where he wanted to run. Kevin Sinfield wanted to come wide. Unfortunately for Kylie, he just took the man out, giving the penalty away.
Sam Moore has Sinfield backtracking, but it's good defence from Brett Delaney. Long. Fitzgibbon and Long do the runaround. Horne. Here is Berrigan now. Berrigan tackled by Burrow. Ablett seems to have recovered from that bang. In there as well. Here is Danny Washbrook now. Try scorer in the first half for Hull, who still have a lead, although it's been narrowed as Horn puts the kick in. Briscoe will chase it. Donald judged that one well, just saw the ball take a little kink and went into touch. But the Hull fans happy with that. Leeds at the right end of the field as far as they're concerned.
A delicate little kick from Richard Horn. He knows whether this ball stays in or goes out. It keeps Hull at the right end of the pitch, as we see a bit of claret from Ryan Bailey. We get no sympathy from anybody walking off.
A legacy of that set two with Lee Radford. And he'll need a bit more of attention there. So it means that Ali Lauatiti will reappear for the Rhinos. It'll be head and feed to Leeds on their own 10-metre line. And Donald takes it up. Here's Ryan Hall.
What can Leeds do now with this possession? Nearly 20 minutes to go. They've brought Hull on a number of occasions. Forward pass, was it?
It was. Referee got, I think, the call from top judge Clint Sherrod on this near side.
It's probably been the execution of the players this afternoon. Maybe trying too hard. Ali Lauatiti, he thought he was going through as the dummy runner. And Robbie Burrow just hesitated when he passed the ball to him. But again, because of that mistake, they've now got to defend their own line. 30 yards out.
Hull looking to take fourth place in the table, coming up to the hour mark. They lead by 12 points to 6. Here's Willie Manu, such a big performer for Hull, taking them forward. Still going there, gets the penalty, held, says the referee. Somebody says something to him in return, and they march back another 10.
Well, they must go now. They've given a penalty away, then there's the back-to-back penalty for dissent. They must go for 2 points.
Is Willie Manu still moving here? He's still fighting against. I'm not so sure.
Kevin Sinfield still arguing the toss. And they're going to go for 2, but I'm not sure Danny Tickle is out there to do the kicking, so it's going to be Craig Fitzgibbon, who's only kicked 7 all season, as opposed to Tickle's 78 so far. But that was the word from Richard Agart, but of course he's got to have confidence in Craig Fitzgibbon, record point scorer in his Australian days, a goal kicker par excellence.
It's not a bad substitution, is it? When you can hand the ball to someone like Craig Fitzgibbon. There's Danny Tickle, man who's on the sideline, normally takes the kicking duties.
Well, both coaches know this game is going to be tighter than a submarine door. Brian McLennan, he knows that every opportunity, every chance you get, you've got to take it. Both teams won 16 matches this season.
As Fitzgibbon lands that one. And they extend their lead to 14 points to 6 into the final quarter of the game, trying to inch their way to 4th place in the final standings.
And that just takes that bit of pressure off Hull FC now, because it's been all Leeds in the opening 20 minutes of the second half. They've been playing with speed, they've been generating second phase rugby, and they've been creating an awful lot of chances, but just not taking them. Has that ball gone out on the full?
Sinfield turns away in disgust.
He's trying everything to lead his team around. Kevin Sinfield just too much on this ball. Comes back to halfway now. Even happens to the best of them.
So it brings Hull back to the halfway line and the penalty, which Craig Hall thumps into touch just about 8 metres further forward. But as long as they're up that end of the field, that's all Hull can hope for, really, in adversity. And here is Sam Moa. He's lost the ball, gone backwards, says the referee. Danny Houghton alert to the threat there, picked it up first.
So many Hull FC players offering themselves, hitting a hole. They've got options all over the park when they're going forward with the ball.
Fitzgibbon looking weary, gets to his feet as Horn changes direction, finds Sean Long. Long gets out of trouble, could have run into one of his own players there, but finds Kirk Yeeman, and Yeeman straightens it up. 3 tackles gone. Reese Lynn, Sean Long stabs the kick in. Craig Hall is chasing. Eastwood did well there. Big guy, but he turned well quickly and got back to salvage the situation. We've got some Leeds injury news from the sidelines. Here's Rod.
Well, the problem's mounting up for Leeds here, Bill, not just on the scoreboard, and the time ticking away too. They've got 3 players out on the bench that look out for the count, really, as Rob Burrow makes a break. Back to you, Bill.
Burrow is through. Burrow trying to outpace Reese Lynn. Lynn comes back to make the tackle, but still they're flooding forwards of the Rhinos. They've got the numbers out to their right-hand side. If they can get the ball, they can do. To Delaney. Delaney using his power to get closer still. That's 3 tackles gone. And now they're lined up. Can the Rhinos strike here? Maguire! Maguire stretches out. Did he get that ball down? They'll go to the video ref again.
What about the footwork from him? He looks confident that he's grounded that ball.
I'm not sure he does, Tez.
Well, there we go.
No, that's a try. That's a try.
Hang on a minute, I'm not sure he does.
No,
yeah.
That's a try.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong, Tez. That's a try.
That is fantastic work. And that shows how dangerous this Rhinos side are. They just need one chance.
And Danny Maguire, with that try close to the posts, has cut the gap and given Leeds real hope of turning it round against the 12 men of Hull FC. The try is awarded. 22 for the season now for Danny Maguire in Super League.
Well, what's the end of this game going to be like? Frantic pace. Rob Burrow, what about the break? He didn't panic. He knew that there was nobody in support. He knew he just had to keep a tight hold of that ball, go down, play it as quick as he can. But what about the footwork? Danny Maguire saw that Fitzgibbon had gone up too far, so he knew could get inside of him. He just pumps that ball. He goes around Big Samoa and grounds that ball for the try.
So Maguire with the try. Now Sinfield, disgusted with himself a few moments ago for putting that ball out on the full, now has the opportunity to add another 2 points, which he does, of course, and it's just 14 points to 12. Things looking good for Leeds on the field, but we'll go back to Rod with the news of the injury problems they got off it.
Yeah, well, a big boost to morale, that try from Danny Maguire, but problems on the bench. Ryan Bailey with that gash in the head, as we know all about from the incident early on. Also got a groin problem that they're strapping up as well. Ian Kirk's got an ankle problem. And perhaps most worrying of all for Leeds is that Lee Smith looks done for the day, and he's been so often the man with the golden arm, hasn't he? The golden hand, the man who scored that try at the end of the grand final, the man who scored the try in the last minute in the cup tie against Wigan this season, but he won't be doing it today, I don't think.
Well, they might need something here because they're still trailing, but now they really have got the scent of victory. They've got a whole side flagging after a massive effort. There is Lee Smith. That left ankle seems to be the problem. Matt like Diskin is okay, I assume.
Sorry, Bill. It looks like Carl Oblett's in the centre. Played most of 2008 in the centre position, so no stranger.
Sinfield down the line. I think that would have been a 40-20.
Yep, he was inside the 40. That would have been a fantastic kick, but good positioning by Craig Hall.
Paul has done well. There's every reason for Craig Hall to be thinking, well, I might not really be as enthusiastic as I could be, because he's been shown the door by Hull FC at the end of this season. Word is that he'll be going across the city, but he's really played his part so far.
Well, going into the last 14 minutes of this game, the number 9, Danny Badeiras, has just come back onto the park. And if the forwards can start winning that battle in the middle of the park, you've got to say Leeds have got a very good chance of winning this game.
There is Badeiras.
I think the phrase grinding it out comes to mind. It's been a battle right up in the middle all match. Lee Radford got his marching orders, and that tightened things up for Hull. Leeds did likewise, and a couple of mistakes have cost them dearly. but they seem to have smartened that up.
Long's kick into the arms of Brent Webb. And Webb, gets the ball round the corner for Donald, and again it doesn't come off. And as long as Leeds are coming up with errors like that, then Hull are going to believe that they can get away with this.
They look like they've been chasing the game from the first minute. They're just forcing the pass, and they're not building any pressure whatsoever. I can't remember how many times they've got to the kick, and Brian McLennan will not be happy. And again, where are they giving the ball away? 30 yards from their own line.
So head and feed to Hull. Of course, if they were to get another try on the board, then they would believe that they can see it out. 14-12, they lead at the moment.
Or even a penalty.
Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon plays the ball bang in front of those posts, about 20 metres out. Long for Tickle. Tickle's pass is intercepted by Donald, and that could have gone even more wrong for Leeds if Donald had got away for Leeds.
Short passes again for Hull FC, taking it right up to the line. Short passes, and just whether Scott Donald gave Danny Tickle a shout, I'm not too sure. Now it's Hull FC's turn to give a penalty away, but a diamond chance there. Danny Badiris, he knows what he's doing. Runs into Mark O'Mealy, who's in an offside position. The next man along to Danny Tickle. He wants the money ball. Richard Agar knows that could have been a chance for them to nudge out in front.
But as it is, it's a penalty subsequently that has given Leeds good field position here. Here is Keith Senior. Tackled 20 metres out as he plays the ball. Eastwood now, straight up the middle, Eastwood, and offloading, and it comes off for him.
Watch Ali Lawatiti on Leeds' left.
Well, here is Ali Lawatiti now. He'll take it up the middle, away from Burrow, dumps the ball out the side. Oh, they've got numbers here. Maguire, though, will finish off himself right under those posts in front of the Leeds fans, and then in among the Leeds fans. And they are jubilant as the Rhinos go in front for the first time this afternoon. And Brian McLennan, in his 100th game in charge of Leeds, a relieved man, I think, to see Danny Maguire come up with back-to-back tries for the side.
Well, Danny Badiris, he's come on and he hasn't half added a lift to this side. You can see Ali Lawatiti just looking to play that second phase. Who's the man who's most alert? It's Danny Badiris, but look at the footwork. The anticipation from Danny Maguire is absolutely fantastic. They just can't get hold of the big man, Ali Lawatiti, to complete that tackle. But Danny Maguire has helped this side, and look at that. Absolutely pure magic.
Was a little bit of a rumour about Danny Maguire's fitness ahead of this game. No doubt about his fitness with that, and a smile for the first time this afternoon, I think, on the face of Brian McLennan. Contrast that with the look on Richard Agar's face.
Well, he won't be happy, Richard Agar, because they nearly scored a try at the other end of the park. They give the ball away. Scott Donald got them on the front foot, and now they've conceded a try.
And Sinfield rubs salt in the Hull wounds with that conversion, and Leeds ahead now by 18 points to 14. They've won on each of their last 3 visits to the KC Stadium, Leeds, and they've won pretty emphatically as well. But this has been something different altogether, and that against 12 men.
Well, I grew up in an era where Gary Schofield was known as the poacher. He played for Hull FC, he played for Leeds Rhinos. He was always in the right place at the right time, and Danny Maguire has acquired that knack because he is constantly moving, constantly anticipating, and that means at some point that place will be at the right time.
Leeds aren't home and dry yet. 9 minutes to go, and the way they've been, shall we say, somewhat casual to the idea of ball retention. If they were to come up with any more errors, then Hull have still got what it takes to punish them. But that's a good deep kick from Sinfield, forcing Briscoe to bring the ball back from deep.
And that's what Leeds have done in this second half. They get into the kick. and they want to play Hull FC down the other end of the park.
Nothing coming from the referee there, despite the shouts of the Hull supporters. Reece Lynn. And he does get the penalty. Badiris just looking to delay things.
Oh, just praise the man, Danny Badiris. And he's just trying to control Reece Lynn. You can see he's trying to get his forwards back so they can set that defensive line. Unfortunately for Leeds, it's just too long.
Sean Long now thumps the kick to touch. The Hull fans still know that there is time for their side. Brian McLennan, by the look on his face, still knows there's plenty of time for things to go wrong here, that his side cannot afford to relax. Here is Long for Horn. Horn, short ball. Yeaman takes the tackle, plays the ball. Long once more, scoops to get that ball up. Houghton finds Berrigan now. Berrigan, Burrows sticks to him and wrestles him to the ground. 3 tackles gone. Mark O'Mealy now. O'Mealy again driving it straight into the heart of the Leeds defence. He plays the ball. Long now. Long finds Willie Manu. Good defence from Leeds so far. That's the 5th tackle. Keeping Hull at bay, keeping them now about 5 metres out. What is Long going to come up with? They don't. They go to Horn. Horn, short ball, and Yeaman is over. Or how is he? The ball has come up for Leeds. The Hull fans thought he had, but guess who was there to seize on the loose ball? Danny Maguire.
Did he drop that pass or did it go straight to Danny Maguire? Oh, he just loses good position by Danny Maguire.
He's actually stolen it out of his grasp, like the artful dodger, Danny Maguire.
Oh, Richard Ager.
I'll tell you what, lads, I've absolutely enjoyed this game. If this is what the playoffs are about, I can't wait for them.
Well, we said at the start that this was a playoff for the playoffs.
There's so
lived up to that stature.
So much at stake, Bill. 6.5 minutes to go. Both sets of players can't leave anything in the tank. They've got to give it their all.
Maguire has gone for a 40-20. Didn't have the angle. And it will be head and feed at the scrum. Craig Hall rallying the troops, getting them to pack the scrum down as quick as possible, but it's a weary bunch of Hull players who come back.
Well, neither side is far enough in front or further enough behind to relax or get excited. What they realise is it's going to go right to the last second. There's 6 minutes left.
Sean Long, bit of blood coming from him. Will he have to leave the park?
Ooh, a cut on the ear. The referee surely will want that looked at. Long is still out there. Here is Reece Lynn now. Now into the last 6 minutes, and it's time for the Leeds defence to shut up shop. They've got their noses in front. A really gutsy second-half performance that needed to be. Pretty abject in the first 40 minutes.
Hull FC are not out of this game yet. It's a real shame. We've got to have a loser.
The ball went forward, says the referee. Sean Long can't believe it. Richard Agar can't believe it.
Yeah, he doesn't agree with this decision, Sean Long. There's the pass. Well, he's saying that pass from Richard Horn, that's the one he's called back.
What?
That's why Sean Long's disagreeing with the referee, Ian Smith.
He's put him in the blood bin now.
He's going to have to clean him up there.
He's got lipstick on his collar.
Matches that on the other side of his neck.
Well, he won't leave the pitch, Sean Long. Off they go. Will Leeds finish again with another try?
Ablett then, just inside the whole half. Leeds ahead by 18 points to 14. Looking to take 4th place, and this result will give them it. But what it'll give them, I think, is a trip to Wigan.
It's not a bad prize.
Whereas Hull could be looking at a game against Hull Kingston Rovers here next weekend. But so much to be sorted out, and still a lot of sorting to do later on this evening, of course. Plenty more to come as Leeds come forward again, and that about sums it up. OK, looks as though they're going to win this one, but they're going to go back to the drawing board and think, we have got a bit of work to do.
They have had the chances. Look at that. Again, I'm not sure it was the best weighted pass by Danny Maguire. He's fired it into Delaney, who has hit a perfect hole, nobody in front of him. Again, you can see some of the frustration in Maguire and Delaney's face.
Well, the contrast between the two sides. Hull FC have got some numbers back, they've got some big names, some big personalities back, and they know they can give anybody a game. The Rhinos came into this game very fragile, emotionally and physically. There were some busted bodies, and they did invest a lot of themselves in that Wembley final. They needed to get back to doing what they do best. I'm not sure they've done that tonight, but they've done enough, possibly, to win this game.
Into the last 5 minutes, and Leeds' recent good record at the KC Stadium is going to continue, because again, the pass doesn't stick, and Richard Horne furious, and the much vaunted return of Long and Horne not coming off on that occasion. Only the 5th time this season these two, the dream pairing for black and white fans, only the 5th time they've played together.
Well, they've still got to build that partnership, but isn't it amazing? Contrasting the first half to the second half, the mistakes that they're now making. If you look at Leeds in this second half, Maguire, Burrow, Badiris, Sinfield have been in magnificent form.
Here is Maguire, very much the man of the moment in the second half. 2 tries. And Leeds now running the clock down. Brian McLennan. Well, he was watching the Sky News pictures this morning of the horrible events back in his home country in New Zealand, the earthquake there, and knew that there were problems, so this is a good tonic. So that won't be symptomatic of the performance.
Well, the frustration again. The only positive to come from this game for Leeds and Brian McLennan, as Ablett makes the mistake, if they can hold on to this lead, is getting the 2 points. You can see Ablett so frustrated. Every time they seem to go to the edges to play outside of Hull, they come up with a mistake.
And I'm happy that that sending off in the early parts of this match didn't cost the match. It's been an excellent, excellent tussle. And as I said, just after half-time, I've had time to think about it. I still think it wasn't a sending off. I think Bailey strikes a couple of times on Radford's head. I think he gets up swinging, and I think again a sin in him.
Well, it'll be what the disciplinary thinks of it now that Hull will worry about, whether it's sending off sufficient or there'll be further punishment to come for Lee Radford. They don't need that. Hull still with time here, maybe. Point though wouldn't be enough. They need to win this one. Can they come up with something here? Tickle flings the ball backwards, but Ablett that time makes the tackle. And Leeds don't intend to let this slip, you sense, as Long tries the crossfield kick. Well, it worked in his Saints days. You remember White to West? They need something like that here tonight. It ain't going to come off for them now.
They needed to get to the kick and put Leeds under pressure. They've got to defend the set of 6. They'll probably have one more chance with the ball, but they needed to put that deep in the corner.
So Leeds will take 4th in the table, and given the erratic form they've been in this season, they'll probably be satisfied with that, because at one point they were even outside the playoff zone.
Well, they'll be satisfied with the win, as I say, but not the performance. They'll need to improve, because when it goes into sudden death football, when you create chances, you've got to make sure that you take them.
But having said that, they were a shell-shocked side after their Wembley experience, feeling very sorry for themselves, knowing that they'd let themselves and their supporters down with that performance against a rampant Warrington side. And you saw the signs of that in the first half. They've done well to turn themselves around in this second half, to lift the spirits, and they could finish off with another one here. Badiris slowly to his feet in the last minute. Sinfield stabs the kick in. Hall sweeps it up. There's going to have to be something dramatic now from Hull FC. Hall has got the penalty. There was a hand in there for Brent Webb. The Hull supporters haven't shifted.
Brent Webb's just on the top. I don't know whether it's a hand or a knee that dislodges the ball, but it gives Hull FC this ball.
Long now. Willie Manu. Manu to Long again. Swats away Brett Delaney. Yeaman for Fitzgibbon. Great hands from Hull here, moving the ball around. Horn, Sam Moore through the middle. They needed to keep that alive because they're into the last 5 seconds. It's going to have to be the kick from Horn. Horn should kick over the top. Briscoe will chase it. Donald has got it, and Donald is back there to deny Hull FC at the last. And Brian McLennan turns. A sigh of relief from him, because he knows his side have turned potential disaster into a narrow victory against a gallant Hull side, down to 12 men for much of the match following Lee Radford's sending off. And Hull sides that really gave it their all, threatened to pull off a major surprise here, led for so long, but in the end were ground down by the Leeds side while they weren't firing on all cylinders. Just had the character and the wherewithal, especially in the shape of Danny Maguire, to get over the try line. Maguire twice, he got a hat-trick in the last Super League game against the Catalan Dragons. He's got another 2 tries this evening in this game to get Leeds Rhinos over the try line and into 4th place. And not surprisingly, Danny Maguire has got the man of the match nomination, and he'll get the champagne, etc. from Rodstad.
Danny, well done, man of the match. You've scored a lot of important tries in your career in grand finals and big cup ties. How important do you think those 2 were today?
Yeah, obviously important for his position in the league and stuff. Yeah, no, disappointed with that performance really, but you know, you've got to give Hull some credit there. 12 men for 70 minutes and to perform like they did, showed a lot of character, and yeah, a little bit disappointed with how we played, but we've got the points, and you know, after a tough week last week, we've got the points, and that's what we came to do. So we're going to be happy with that.
When they had a man sent off, as you say very early, and you played 70 minutes, 13 against 12, people would expect Leeds to win easily. Why was it so difficult?
Yeah, I mean, Hull played well. We've got to give them credit. They scrambled real hard, and they showed a lot of desire for each other, and that's a good quality for them going forward. But on the flip side, you know, we showed a lot of character. 12-0 down at half-time, things not going our way, and then we, you know, performed a lot better in the second half. But you know, still made a few too many errors, but things to work on. But you know, we'll take the points. We're happy.
There's a bottle of champagne to celebrate with. £100 to the charity of your choice, Danny. Where will that be going for us?
Yeah, I'll go to the Leeds Bank Cup.
Well done, thanks, Danny. Kevin Sim, for the Leeds captain, is also just joining us. Kevin, you're always a guy who tells it straight. Just assess Leeds' performance for us tonight, because people might say that you've won, but you've papered over a few cracks by not winning easily, 13v12.
I don't know. I think that's a bit disrespectful to all. I thought they were really up for tonight, and you know, we saw that first half. They got stuck into us, and yeah, they lost Lee, and it made it tough for them. But they're a good side here, and especially at home, that crowd behind them. And it was a tough one.
Just tell us how you've managed to pick the players. We know you're a very good leader, a good motivator. What have you had to do this week, you and Brian McLennan, to pick players up and get them back out in the field?
Yeah, it's been a tough week. As tough as I can remember, really. So we didn't perform last week and got beat by a far better team on the day. And I think it's hard to take when you get beat in a final and you don't perform like you can. I mean, I think you can live with being beat when you play your best, but when you put a showing out like we did, it's been a tough one, and you know, we needed this one to get out of the system. It was always going to be tough coming here before place up for grabs, and thankfully the boys showed a bit of character. You know, we got a bit of a telling off at half-time, and thankfully we got through in the end.
You play Wigan next. Good luck in that, Kevin. Thanks for talking to us.
Cheers, Rob.
So Kevin Sinfield's men have risen to the occasion, but they did, of course, play, as they said in the interviews, they played 12 men for 70 minutes of that match, and I wonder whether Hull will take more out of it than the champions, despite the fact that Leeds now finish the regular season in 4th place in the table. 16,000 plus at the KC Stadium to see that one. Leeds have won by 18 points to 14. And so this is what it means at the top of the table. It means that Leeds cannot be shifted from 4th. St Helens will play here against the Castleford Tigers next. We have Huddersfield taking part of the match against the Catalan Dragons at the moment. Huddersfield are leading their 10 points to 0. If it stays like that, Hull will go 6th. Hull KR will go 7th, so it'll be a Hull derby next week in the first week of the playoffs. And what we can actually confirm right now, this is the only thing we can confirm in terms of the playoffs, is that next Sunday at 6:30 on HD1 and Sky Sports 1, Wigan will play Leeds in the first week of the playoffs. 6:30 next Sunday, Wigan will play Leeds. What a mouth-watering prospect that is. And it comes about, Steve-O, because of this second-half performance from the Rhinos.
Yeah, it needed something special as well, and the long pass from Rob Burrow was absolutely superb. You could see Donald had plenty of space to squeeze in at the corner. It was obvious that the black and whites were going to get a little bit tired, and you've got a quality player in Maguire. Gets that first try. RTD keeping the ball alive, and then just watch this. This is sensational. Step, step, and step. He changed the game.
He did change the game.